Hello there. So in this video, before we start designing, I want to get really clear on who we're designing for. So we're going to discuss why dashboards fail. We're going to discuss our personas. We're going to discuss who we're not designing for, and we're going to review some principles and a short checklist. So let's go.
Okay, welcome back to the file. So in this video, just before we start designing anything, doing any exploration, I want to dig into some personas, principles, some checklists, some things that can help ground this project a little bit more before we start. So just moving over to the right hand side, I actually want to cover why dashboards tend to fail, and I've just added a few points on here. So looking at the points here, so dashboards fail because they're trying to show everything at once. They're designing for too many user types. They have equal visual weight for all metrics. They're focusing on reporting instead of decisions and showing everything instead of what matters. I just wanted to add some points here as a reminder for some of the key reasons that dashboards fail. So let's go across to the right hand side. So what I've done is I've created some fake personas that we can use to help ground our project and help us make decisions as we go along through the process. So let's have a quick look at what the personas are. So these personas were mentioned in the project overview, but I just wanted to expand them a little bit more. So for our first persona, we've got Alex, who fits our e-commerce manager and founder persona. And for context, he opens the dashboard every single morning. His goals are to understand performance quickly, spot problems early, and make confident decisions. And his frustrations are too many charts and hard to compare numbers. So that's the first one. Let's move on to persona number 2. Okay, so our next persona is Sam. He is our growth lead. So the context here is he does weekly performance reviews. The goals are to see how traffic and conversions are trending, identify opportunities, and his frustrations are overly simplified data and no ability to spot patterns. Okay, so these are our two personas that will help guide us throughout our project. Let's just scroll down. Okay, so now we know who we're designing for. We need to know who we're not designing for. So let's just zoom into the slide here. So we're not designing for data analysts who need raw exports, finance teams doing deep reconciliation, executives needing board level reporting, and one-off exploratory analysis. So again, I think this is a really key thing to put into your project so you know who you're not designing for. Okay, so let's move on to our next section. Put together some design principles here based on what we have so far. So speed over depth, trends before details, comparison over raw numbers, highlights over completeness, and clarity over cleverness. So again, this page is something that we can come back to again and again throughout our project just to ground our decision making as we go along. Okay, and last of all on our page, we've got our decisions checklist. So what we have here is, does the dashboard element help the user act faster, reduce cognitive load, highlight change or importance, earn its space on the screen? If no, reconsider or remove. So again, a decision-making checklist that we can use when we're adding things to our dashboard so we can think very carefully before we place it on our screen. Okay, so I think I've covered all the points I wanted to cover in this video. I think it's really important at the beginning to be clear on the project overview, what we're working on, and also then flesh out some example personas, who we're not designing for, some principles and a checklist that we can keep referring to throughout the project, and that should help us ground any decisions that we need to make. So in upcoming videos, we'll start to work on mood boarding and competitive research for our project.
Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for getting to the end. So like, subscribe, all of those things, and I will see you in the next video. Heater on. I'm not feeling 100%. I can feel it in my throat right there. Anyway, I'm not gonna moan. It's cold, so we know what time it is. It's time for a hot drink and maybe some sweets, but hang on 1 second. All I have left is After 8 mints, so that's mint chocolate and mint sticks. That is very disappointing. So I'm going to be popping to the shops in a bit for a Mars bar. Anyway, heater's on, I'm getting warmer, so I'm gonna get chocolate. I will see you in the next video.